Hi, my name's Robin Davis from momthemagnificent.com. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more about you and your background and what drew you to want to be a part of this project with Million Stories.
Well, my background's definitely more in the inventing and science side. Like I made a flashlight that runs off the heat of your hand, a coffee mug that harvests the excess heat of your hot drink and converts into electricity to charge your phone, things like that. So I come from a lot of public speaking as well about my life as an inventor, art and science, creativity, things like that. I always wanted to get into hosting. I've always had a really big interest in film and television. So when Million Stories asked me to host Your World on Money, I kind of jumped at it. And it also ended up being an incredible learning experience for me about finances and how to manage my own.
Wow, that's amazing. I think it's really a good tool to learn, not just as an adult, but as a mom of teens. These are kind of some really cool episodes to share with my kids. My middle child is growing a little bit more than just an allowance. He's starting to work, so he has some more money, and he's kind of like, okay, what do I do with it? How do
Yeah.
I make my money work for me? So this is all great stuff to learn. What can viewers expect to learn from these episodes from the series?
Oh gosh, well, I think you'll learn a little bit about the history of these kind of basic financial topics and how to use them nowadays. I talk to different experts in each episode about these specific topics, which include taxes, home ownership, stocks, credit, retirement, things like that. So all very important, crucial things, kind of the basics 101 of financial literacy.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have any good practical ways for how teens or young adults can build themselves up with good credit? What are some good ways to start making yourself and having some good credit established there?
Well, I definitely think when you buy things on your credit card, paying it off as soon as you can is so important because I think it's really easy to forget about it and then just let it sit. And then, you need to, if you want to get a good credit score, you need to pay things off and pay it off on time. So that would be the
Definitely.
biggest thing. And really think about your purchases before you make them. Like, is this something I really need? And can I afford to do it? I think that's one of the mistakes that a lot of young people, and myself included, do, which is buying like without thinking about, is this something
Yep, the
I actually
impulse
even have?
buying. We have
Yeah,
that
impulse buying.
conversation every time we pass up at the register, even,
Mhm.
my kids are into whatever the magazine titles that are listed
So
there. I'm
hard,
like, we don't need
honestly.
another $15 book or magazine when
Yeah,
we're checking
yeah.
out. Yeah, that's great. What about investing for beginners? Where would an 18 or 19-year-old young adult start with that?
Well, that's why we have the episode for them to watch. But I think there's
Definitely.
a lot of resources, a lot of websites and apps that are making investing a lot easier for young people. I can't recommend one specifically, but if you search or like look at Million Stories resources, I'm sure you
Mhm.
can find something.
Okay, so you do recommend using some kind of app. Technology can be your friend here when it comes to
Yeah,
investing.
for sure. And just being
Budgeting.
informed about it and then yeah, talking to other people that have invested and seeing how they're
Mhm.
doing it, I think is really important. And I think when you have friends that are investing, it can make the experience feel less like intimidating or lonely.
Yeah, definitely. That's great advice. So you talked a little bit about all these amazing inventions you have created and just the life of a young entrepreneur. What advice would you have for other fellow young entrepreneurs wanting to start out their business?
It's a good question. Be wary of people. Make sure you're working with people who have good intentions because there's a
That's
lot
important.
of people out there who just want to take advantage of you because you're young and with good ideas. Always have a lawyer. Make sure you
Uh,
have a lawyer look over any single thing you sign in your entire life, especially in the business world. And choose something you're very, very passionate about because I have seen with a lot of my entrepreneur friends and myself included, if it's not something that you're 200% down to go all the way with, it's probably not going to take off because people sense your passion for projects. And if you're only there because you think it'll earn a lot of money, or
Yeah,
like you think it's cool, or it'll give you hype, then there's no point doing the project. And that's something I learned over a long period of time, is just only do things you're very, very passionate about.
that's great advice. Not just in it for the quick, money turnaround, the quick profit, but really following your passion. And then
Mhm.
hopefully the money and the profit will follow that.
Yeah.
So what do you think would be the most important advice for teens or young adults just starting to balance their budget and get out there in the world with learning about financial literacy?
Save your money. Be careful with what you're spending it on. Try and limit the amount of ads you're seeing, which I know is kind of hard, but especially
Mm,
on
yeah,
Instagram and YouTube now and everything, we're just constantly inundated with a number of ads that just has not been seen before in history. It's just daily we're exposed to so much, and I think it's very easy to get influenced to buy things. So really just be cautious. Uh,
that's good advice.
and know that when you save your money, it'll give you freedom when you need it for certain things, especially, medical expenses and medical
Yeah.
emergencies. Those are the times that I've been really grateful that I have money to just pay and kind of get the thing that I need. Or experiences, paying for experiences, traveling, instead of buying physical objects, can be such a much more rewarding experience.
I agree. I love all that. Hearing that, that's kind of I've said a lot of those things to my kids as a mom. So to hear that from you, I'm like, okay, I think I am on the right track saying those things. That's great
Yeah,
advice.
you
Thank you.
are.
So my last question for you, well, before I say my last question, let me say I think these episodes are so powerful and packed with so much information. I've only watched a couple, but I really wish that the public schools would start showing these in some of their classes. My son takes a independent living class as an
Hmm.
elective, and they do a whole finance course on there for a couple of the weeks out of the year, but these would be great to show. So such great educational purpose in them as well. So congrats on that. I think you're teaching a lot of people the right ways for money here.
Oh, thank
um
you.
I think I read something about you releasing a book, an upcoming book
Yes,
next
yeah.
year. What could we expect for that from that? Will there be a lot of finance tips, or is it more of biography, or what will that be?
It's tentatively called The Inventing Mindset, and it's
Okay.
about inventing and how we're all innately inventors built to solve our own problems, or else the human race would not have survived until now if we were not constantly inventing solutions. But the term inventor has kind of been very old-fashioned and relegated to a very
Mm,
certain kind of person. So I'm trying to rebrand that in this book. I talk about the crucial yet often overlooked combination of science and art, and why that needs to happen earlier on in the educational system, and kind of breaking away from those stereotypes in society of someone in the sciences versus arts. I talk
yeah.
about creativity, imagination, and also technology and social media. So all things I'm very passionate about.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Well, I will definitely buy that book once it comes out. I would love to read it.
Thank you. It'll come
And
out
I
in
hope we get
2024.
more episodes for this
Thank
series. It's
you.
very beneficial and helpful. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much.